Today I wanted to talk to you about what it is like going back to school the second time around as both a second-time student, a non-traditional student, and also as a person in recovery. So I made a few notes just so I don't miss anything. This will be brief, but so yeah, first of all, I got my undergraduate degree in communication studies and a minor in Spanish from IUPUI, which is Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis. So it's in Indiana. And I got that degree in 2014, a bachelor's degree. So it's been about 4 years now. And, you know, since then, I stopped going to school after that. And I would not regret that decision for anything. I traveled all over the country. I moved around a lot. I've been out of the country. I got my teacher certification for yoga, so I'm a certified yoga teacher now. And I just, you know, I moved out of state, found my favorite city ever, Wilmington, North Carolina. But yeah, I've done a lot, so I wouldn't take that back. But I knew during those 4 years that I wasn't done. Like, yes, the traveling was cool, and yes, you know, this freedom, you know, just doing whatever and not having classes and assignments. It was freeing and it was awesome, but I knew in my heart of hearts that I was not done with school and I wanted to go back. But I was so indecisive, and so for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to do like everything. I wanted to be a business, own my own business. I wanted to travel the world, be a yoga instructor, be a famous actress, be a famous singer, like be scientifically, like super scientifically intelligent and discover some groundbreaking thing, be a mathematician, be in a rock band. I mean, like, I'm just throwing out examples because the point is I've wanted to do it all. So during these last 4 years, I'm like, I'm going back to school, I'll go back to school. But I never really had like a set goal because there were so many ways I wanted to go. I was like, oh, I don't want to choose this one because then I'm missing out on that. And I don't want to choose that because then I'm missing out on this. And, you know, so all that was doing was leading to not going back to school. So I heard from somebody once, like a year or two ago, that indecision can be, you know, one of the most detrimental things you can do to yourself, because you'll just sit in limbo. And so finally I was like, for this fall, I was like, I'm going back to school. So I'm just gonna pick a path and I'm gonna run with it. And so as I was reading about like master's programs and things I could go back to school for and different career paths and everything, I read through a lot and I considered business. I think I am business inclined. And like I considered, what else? Spanish, because I got a minor in Spanish. And I considered psychology because I think humans are just like fascinating and I want to learn about their brains and stuff. Considered sociology because how people interact is also cool. I considered communication studies since that's what my my undergrad degree is in. And I considered like other things. So basically, anyway, so what I'm in right now, what I'm going to school for is Student Affairs Administration in Higher Education. And what that means, just briefly, is basically it's about the student development holistically during the college years. And, you know, because little history lesson, college started out as a way for men to further their education. And it was just go to class at some building, at a brick building, and then learn your stuff out of your textbooks, become academically smart, and go home, you know? Learn this knowledge and just go home. But, you know, suddenly, or not suddenly, over time, people felt that there was a need for there to be more than just textbook learning and academic growth. They thought that we needed to focus more on holistic development of the entire person. And so in comes student affairs. This is everything. Some sample careers are deans, assistant deans, academic advisors, career counselors, programs coordinators. They're the people at universities and colleges and other higher education facilities that help to make the whole experience happen. They help to develop the student more than just in an academic way. So, you know, we're there for support, and we're there to help guide for those that may be struggling, and even for those who are not, just to kind of like guide through as you go on this path of college and you find yourself, right? And so when I was reading about it, it said it was great for people who were very involved on campus during their undergrad careers. And I was a student leader. I had a service scholarship, so I worked as an alternative break leader. I was in Greek life for a little bit. I was a student teacher and some other stuff. Oh, I was a cheerleader my first year. That didn't last. I discovered during my first year of college that like I had been a cheerleader for several years, and I have a loud voice, as you can tell, and school spirit and stuff, but it just like, it wasn't for me. So I decided to go a different route. Yeah, so I read about this and I was like, I don't know what my life would be like today if I hadn't attended college out of high school. But I do know that because of that, I have transformed as a person. A lot of those experiences were truly invaluable. And some of the professors I met, the other students I met from all over the place, coming together and learning and all of that, it transformed me, and I would not take any of that back. And even during that 4-year gap that I took, I learned just so much that I learned in college, I took with me on those travels when I was exploring the world around me. And I think they both like played off of each other. Like, because I went to college, my travels were enhanced because I was that much more knowledgeable and my mind was more open, and I was seeing more, and that was amazing. And then, yeah, so coming back now, I feel that it's a perfect opportunity for me to take my experiences, because they were so transformative, and then bring them to students now, you know, that are going through it right now. Yeah, so that's why I chose that. But there's a couple things that I'm working with right now. I am a non-traditional student. I'm 27 years old. So I'm not like, you know, I'm not super old, not super long out of college, but it is long enough where I've had that 4-year gap, and I feel a little disconnected. I'm a part-time student right now in grad school, so I'm going to class twice a week for 3 hours at a time, and I'm a commuter student as well. So I live in High Point, North Carolina. Campus is in Greensboro, North Carolina, so it's about a 25-minute drive. And, you know, I pretty much go for class and come home. Other than that, I work full-time. I'm a yoga teacher. What else is on my plate? There's some other things. I'm trying to get involved in a lot. So it's like, this is such a different experience than my first time around, because when I was an undergrad student, my freshman year, I lived in a dorm with a bunch of other students. I was like really involved. Like I said, I was right there in the thick of all the activities happening. So this is different, and I don't know if it's bad or good considering the field I'm going into. I'm like I'm far away from all the action, but I think it's giving me a better chance to kind of reflect on how I feel about my experiences and how I can bring them to shape these new students. So that's something I'm kind of struggling with. I'm like, Should I be spending more time on campus because that's what I'm going to school for? Or what, you know, maybe my focus can be less on like direct contact with students and more on like the research. But I also like, my end goal is like, I want to change some lives. You know, if I can just inspire one person to reach their goals or to change their life, then I'm doing great. That's what I want. So yeah, I'm only on week 3 of grad school. I will have an opportunity, well, actually a requirement. I need to do an internship during my graduate program as part of the requirement. So that will give me a chance to explore different avenues and actually work in the field before graduating. So I will keep you updated because I'm only on week 3. Let's see here. Oh, I was also going to talk about how I'm a person in recovery, going back to school. This is another thing that's new to me. During my undergrad career, I was drinking a lot, daily. So it's, you know, sometimes I was smoking weed a lot too. And sometimes I think back to how it's like, actually often, I'm like, how do I have a bachelor's degree? But thank you, Mom and Dad. I have them to thank first and foremost. Also student loans, financial aid, and a lot of teachers who allowed me to just like schmooze my way through the class. It's a blessing and a curse. I guess thank you for enabling me. Thank you for, you know, now that I'm mature enough to understand that, you know, to do well, it takes hard work. I appreciate you letting me slide there. So shout out to y'all at IUPUI. But yeah, like my grades were like, I'd do well one semester and then they'd drop way down. I'd fail some classes. I'd get a letter that said, if you don't do better, you're on academic probation. You're gonna get kicked out of school. And I'm like, shit. So I'd do well the next semester, be off of academic probation, and then they'd go back down. So I was just like this wave. And like I said, I wouldn't take anything back. It was transformative experiences, but I think that now I can use that to help another student who might be going through this, might be drinking too much, or might just be making poor decisions, because college is a lot and there's so much freedom. You're like, whoa, I can just do what I want. I can just do what I want right now. I'm not going home or whatever. I had fun. I had fun, but it can have some consequences, and I want to help other students because I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only one like that. So I'm loving it. Grad school is cool, and it's a ton of reading, and I knew that going into it, but it's interesting stuff. Anyway, I'm on my 3rd week, so I will keep you updated. But also there's like being in recovery this time around. I'm not drinking, so I'm more clear-headed, combined with like being more mature. Shit's just going pretty well. There's normal everyday stressors and stuff, but overall, I think school's gonna go a little better this time around. There's also like there's a program at my school for students in recovery, and I know a lot of other schools have this as well. So ours, we're the UNCG Spartans, so we have a group called Spartan Recovery Group. And it's really cool because it's other students who are in recovery that meet up in smaller groups. So there's like a women's group this Friday, and we're meeting to just like talk about how school's going, how our recovery is going, how we're balancing everything, and how we can support each other. And then there's actually an office for this group. So anytime during the day, I can just go there and study. I can go there just to say hi to people. And it's just a cool community that I have as a resource on campus. So that's amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this off so it's not like a million hours long. But thank you for watching, and thanks for letting me share my experience, because it makes me feel good and helps me like make sense of everything that's going on. Yay, and I will keep you updated as the semester keeps going, or like at some point I will talk to you soon. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.